capacité, nous renforçons la capacité des entrepreneurs, nous sensibilisons, nous informons sur les opportunités qu'il y a. Nous facilitons aussi la création d'entreprises, des entrepreneurs.
So she would like, first of all, to introduce the agents she's working for. It is a state agent which is in charge of development for the Congolese entrepreneurship. And now she was giving what they are doing to assist the SMEs. They empower them, they train them, they provide them the means and way to access to finance.
C'est dans ce cadre que nous sommes ici. Nous sommes accompagnés avec des entrepreneurs du Congo qui sont venus exposer leurs produits.
So we have come here in that scope, and we brought many entrepreneurs from DRC who have exhibited their products.
Alors, je voulais passer une invitation aux participants de passer dans notre stand et voir ce que nous faisons.
And now I would like to invite participants to come and visit our pavilion so that you can see what we are doing. Thank you.
Alors, à ce qui concerne la question, le Congo est un grand pays qui offre beaucoup d'opportunités pour les entrepreneurs et les investisseurs.
So Congo is a big market. It's offering opportunities to entrepreneurs and to people who would like to export their goods to DRC.
Au-delà de mines, nous avons la transformation, la logistique, les marchés de sous-traitance.
So besides mining sector, we have got subcontractors, we have got agricultural activities, and also we provide logistics means.
Alors, il y a beaucoup d'opportunités qui sont offertes aux investisseurs de venir au pays pour investir.
So there are a lot of opportunities which is offers to investors who would like to come in DRC. So we just invite them to be confident and they can come because we have also got the logistic service.
Alors, la République démocratique du Congo a mené beaucoup de réformes.
So Democratic Republic of Congo has made a lot of reforms
pour faciliter l'investissement
in order to facilitate investment in DRC.
Nous avons créé les guichets uniques de création d'entreprises.
So we have created one checkpoint for creating companies in DRC.
Où vous pouvez venir, dans 3 jours, vous avez vos documents légaux.
So within 3 days, you can get your document for your company. If you are creating a company, within 3 days, you can get all your documents.
À un coût très réduit de $110 seulement pour les étrangers.
A very just cost, which is $110 for foreigners.
Et aussi les guichets uniques douanières qui ont été créés.
So the one border post which has been created to facilitate.
Digitalisation aussi.
So the digitalization of the technology, how do you say? Digitalization, yes.
Merci.
Thank you so much. There is a lot happening, There's a lot happening in DRC, as you have heard. We'll just allow one question from this side and one question this side. And we have learners in our midst. I also allow the learner. Can you just raise your hands, the learners there? So we'll allow, some on this side. So we also allow learners from secondary school to also ask a question. So we have 3 questions, one from the learner, one from this side, and one from this side. Please be brief, only one question per person, and tell us your name and who you are directing that question to. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the panelists. My name is Penza Siame, coming from Northern Technical College. The question is quite general to all the panelists. So, Zambia has quality products, yet many struggle to reach the international market. What practical steps should be taken over the next 3 to 5 years to help local businesses transition from producing for the domestic market to becoming competitive exporters? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Beatrice Kumwenda, coming from Zambia Chamber of Small and Medium Business Associations. ZACSIMBA is the apex body for the micro, small, and medium businesses. My question goes to the Minister of Commerce and ZDA. There is no clear classification of who is a micro, who is a small, who is a medium business. And as we can see, ZACSIMBA is not there, meaning they are in Zambia Chamber of Commerce. So we are not getting the fare of the cake that is there. So I ask for the classification and why ZACSIMBA is not there. The Chamber of Commerce is dealing with the micro, small, and medium businesses at the same time as the large.
Thank you. I think we'll allow MCTI to take the first question, which was quite broad, but addressing issues around quality products and how they penetrate the international market. And this MSME, it has come back to ZDA. So there's no classification. Tell us, is there a classification that you're using so that I know who is a small, who is a medium? Oh, in fact, we start with micro, MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. We'll take those two questions and then we'll be done. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you, Notec, for your question that you want to know the steps that is required to move a product from domestic to international product. We have put a lot of things in place. We don't need 5 years to put things in place. I think most of the things that we need to put in place are already there. As the ministry, business starts and ends with us. We have, for you to export a product, it needs to be formalized. And to formalize the product, you need to have a formal company, you need your product to be known, you need to have patents, you need to ensure that you follow all the standards that are needed for that market and for that particular sector. So for example, we have PACRA. PACRA will ensure that your business is registered, we ensure that your product is patented, that no one else will copy your product. We have ZABS. ZABS offers voluntary standards for you to, because ZABS, ZICSA, they all sit at international levels, regional levels, where they accredit products. So once you have a stamp of ZABS on your products, if you take them to Botswana, you take them to South Africa, they will not need to test them again. So it's important that you come to our ministry and learn more about what ZABS does. We have also ZMA that looks at measures to ensure that your product is internationally accepted. For more details, you can come to the ministry stand so that you can learn more about what we do with these other statutory bodies that we have. And besides that, we also work with Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. We also work with Ministry of Health and other. We have about 33 trade facilitation institutes for both government and quasi-government that ensure that your product is able to reach international standards. And besides that, the agreement that we are signing to, we also ensure that Zambian products are given a fair chance. So for more questions, your question is broad, but I'm telling you that we don't need the 5 years. We are already ahead. ensuring that your products are able to reach international standards, the EU, America, and even the African Union Free Trade that we have put in place now. Thank you, Moderator.
Zedia, in under 2 minutes, please. Classification of MSMEs.
Thank you, Moderator. I would try to look at this question from the perspective of export, since we are talking about export. Just to assure Zaksimba that, first of all, from ZDA, when we talk about export promotion or interventions that involve exports, we have categories of exporters that we work with. So we work with SMEs, we work with medium to small enterprises and the large companies. As far as the classification is involved, I know that the Ministry of SMEs is here exhibiting at the trade fair. And I know that there's a policy that clearly classifies the different categories of MSMEs. Probably what I would do is encourage you to visit the stand of the SME, the Minister of SME, which is rightly opposite the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. So probably we can get more details. But I know that there's a policy that clearly classifies the distinction between those categories of MSMEs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda, and want to thank you, the panelists who have handled this conversation. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Just a round of applause. Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. All right, we have come to the end of the session, and we thank you for your diligence and participation.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause for them, please. We will go into the next panel discussion. And this is because we are pressed for time. Ideally, we should not have been in this hall. We should have been somewhere else. But on account of circumstances beyond the organizers, we had to be here. But then this hall is booked for another event in the afternoon. So would like to run through the rest of the remaining panel discussions. Thereafter, we can break for tea and network. So now is the time for panel 3, talking about investment opportunities in Zambia, priority sectors, as well as incentives. Our moderator for this panel discussion is no other than Ms. Grace Kanene, who is an EXCO member of the Ndola and District Chamber of Commerce. So Grace, please come forward and invite your panelists.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking investments, and because we are pressed for time, let me call my panelists. From Zambia Development Agency, Mr. Dennis Kaulu, Assistant Director, Investment Support Services. A big hand. From Zambia Tourist Agency, Mr. Robert Simushi, Head Policy, Planning, and Information. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen. From the Industrial Development Corporation, Mr. Mainga Mkando, Chief Investment Officer. A big hand. I seem to have left out 2 of my panelists. We're supposed to have a representative from Securities and Exchange Commission. If you are here, kindly come to the podium. A big hand, a big hand. And then we are supposed to also have somebody from ZESCO. ZESCO? A big hand, a big hand. On a light moment, uh, next to me is my young brother. So when they were giving me the name, I was like, what? My young brother is on the panelist. Next to him is an old schoolmate. We were at university together. So this is going to be awesome. Panelists, ground rules and rules of engagement. We only have 25 minutes to finish. So please be brief, to the point, and under 1 minute. Should you go further than 1 minute, I apologize in advance. I will interject. Is that okay? Right. Sounds better, somebody says. So we'll kickstart with ZDA. ZDA plays a central role in attracting and facilitating investment in Zambia. Looking at the country's development priorities, which sectors currently present the most attractive investment opportunities, and what incentives are available to investors seeking to establish or expand operations in Zambia? Mr. Skaulu, over to you.
Thank you so much. So as my sister has mentioned, my name is Dennis Sikaolu, Assistant Director responsible for investment support services at the ZDA. That's a very interesting question. So there are a number of attractive sectors, and we as ZDA, of course, promote investment in all the sectors. However, there are some sectors that have been gazetted as priority sectors by the government, and these are manufacturing. So if you're into agro-processing, value addition, any form of manufacturing, it's considered a priority sector. You also have construction, and we have energy. We also have water development, and least but not the least, information and communication technology. Under the ZDA, there are the major incentives that are offered are accelerated depreciation. So when you are bringing in machinery and equipment, it can be depreciated at an accelerated rate. And also you get exemptions from paying customs duty on machinery and equipment that you're bringing in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Zambia Tourism Agency, Mr. Simushi. Tourism is increasingly being recognized as a key driver of economic diversification. What investment opportunities currently exist within Zambia's tourism sector, and which areas remain underinvested despite having strong growth potential?
Okay, thank you for that question. So for the benefit of the audience, Zambia Tourism Agency has two mandates. The first mandate is obviously to promote and market the destination domestically as also at an international scale. We also have a mandate of regulating the sector through licensing and establishment of standards. So as we talk about tourism, I would like to maybe use a three-tiered approach to highlight the opportunities that you may find within the tourism sector. First is that of the common misconception that tourism is all about leisure travel. So when you talk about the leisure product, you will realize that there is quite a lot of opportunities. What do I mean by that? We have accommodation service providers that come to the party. We can talk about transportation service providers. We talk about food, because you need to understand that if a person comes to your hotel, obviously they will need to use all those services. The second perspective that I can highlight in the interest of time is what I would call the enabling layer. For the sector to thrive, again, you will notice that a tourist coming from another country needs to have air access. and it could be rail connectivity issues. We need to also have other issues to do with technology. All those are different opportunities. But the last perspective that I can give, maybe as I highlight the opportunities, is that of what we call business events. We are gathered in this place to discuss things that are of a business nature. We're trying to push a certain agenda forward. So you will notice that putting up an event of this magnitude, it requires a whole value chain of players. You have photographers providing us a service. Just the panel that has just ended, we had an interpreter. All those are various opportunities. We talk about accommodation coming into the party. So you will notice that if you look at tourism, there is quite a lot that is there. In terms of the invested areas or areas that maybe we can look at, almost everyone in this room will agree that there is very little or limited activity happening in what we call the Northern Circuit. And there are reasons for that. You'll notice that as we talk about a tourism product, there is what we call the 4 A's of tourism. And that's what we call accommodation, accessibility, amenities, and attractions. So we have attractions in the Northern Circuit, Luapula or Northern Province, but you find that there are limited quality accommodation service providers. We talk about infrastructure in terms of accessibility, it's a challenge. And if you talk about amenities, whether it's banking facilities or health services, they are limited. All those challenges should be seen as opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you very much. IDC. Mr. Mainga, IDC has a mandate to spearhead strategic investment that support national development. What sectors does IDC consider most critical for Zambia's long-term economic transformation? And what investment opportunity exists for partnership with the private sector?
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm glad that my colleague got the chance to speak a bit earlier. I hope everyone was here to at least get the background on who IDC is so that I don't have to go through that. So in terms of the sectors as IDC, there are 5 sectors that we consider key, right? And these are derived from the 8th National Development Plan. So it is energy, it is mining, it is agriculture, agribusiness, and manufacturing in a sense, and then it is transport and logistics, and it's tourism. So those are the key sectors for us. That's where we see ourselves, in a sense, establishing new businesses for Zambia, right? And how IDC operates is that we operate generally through partnerships. So we set up joint ventures or partnerships with both local and international investors, where by partnering with IDC, then you are able to get insights into the local market and some level of government partnership, and therefore some level of security. We are able to invest. So we actually take shareholding in the companies that we establish. So we will set up both new companies, but then we also invite partnerships into businesses that we have already. Every now and then we will go ahead and establish a new business in an area, and we look at it like, by establishing the business and proving concept, by having it operational, we are de-risking it for a private sector partner. And so even when they come in, they're able to, whether it's doing the due diligence or getting assurance of the potential success of the business, they're able to evaluate it much better because it is operational.
Thank you. Well noted. Thank you. A big hand. Securities and Exchange Commission. When we talk about investment in Zambia, priority sectors and looking at investment broadly, where does SEC come in? What is your role when you are speaking into investment of this nation?
Thank you. I'll start by introducing myself.
Yes.
My name is Diana Sichone. I am the Director, Enforcement and Legal Services at the Securities and Exchange Commission. And we are pleased to be part of this panel because the mandate of the Securities and Exchange Commission is about long-term capital formation. So we look at what priority sectors the government has identified, but then for us, our role is to facilitate capital formation, long-term capital formation. What I mean by that is that we look at those the same sectors that have been identified, whether it's mining, it's tourism, it's manufacturing. How do those companies raise financing that they need for the long-term development and growth of those sectors? That's where we come in. So you do this through various means. You can do it through equity, where you could come to the market, you come and do an IPO, an initial public offer, and then you raise the financing that you need to develop and grow that sector, the productive sector of the economy. Or you could do it through debt, where you come and borrow. And one of the examples that we have, I think behind me you can see panels, solar panels. So we have CEC as a good example that was able to come to market using debt, a debt instrument. So as a Securities and Exchange Commission, we are very well positioned to be an enabler of long-term capital formation, because we are able to facilitate capital raising that is required to grow those productive sectors of the economy. And we are able to link those that have excess funds with those that need the funds, which are the sectors of the economy. So you have your investors on one side, your pension schemes, even the people that are seated in here, you and me. We could have money that we want to invest in these productive sectors of the economy, in mining, so you could do it through equity, or you could do it through a debt instrument like a bond, like you invest in CEC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. ZESCO, powering the nation. How do you come into investment? When you were put on my panel, I was like, wow, ZESCO, investment. Let's hear from ZESCO. Where do you come in as ZESCO? Providing electricity. We've heard that the northern circuit is yet to be explored. Where are you in the investment of our nation?
Thank you very much. My name is Temwani Chira. I'm representing ZESCO. I'm responsible for power contracts and business development. So we do recognize, and I'm happy that most of the panelists now and before spoke about the different sectors of the economy, being tourism, agriculture, mining, and of course the energy sector. We come in terms of advocating for increasing our generation mix. I think most of us know that we've been hit by a drought in the last few years. So our focus at the moment is just to increase the generation mix. We have projects running under solar, utility scale solar. We have hydro. We also have thermal plants. And then apart from that, we have investment opportunities in our transmission and grid infrastructures. We have a number of projects lined up on the generation scale. And so the question is, how do we evacuate that power to different parts of the country, and then of course to bordering countries? Above and beyond that, we've also managed to leverage our relationships by benefiting from the bilateral agreements from the Southern African Power Pool. So in the event that we don't have enough power, we're able to trade for this power from the neighboring countries under SAP. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because of time, we are going to move to the audience just now. So allow for 3 questions. Somebody saying, but why don't you ask them some more? No, they are here for you. So you need to get into this and ask the questions that you need to ask. So any 3, 1 from this side, 1, yeah, please. Let me have the 1 from this side, and just, yeah, 2 from this side. Thank you. Please be brief. If I see you start making comments, I will interject. Please be brief.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Luaya. So my question goes to Zambia Development Agency and the Industrial Development Corporation. So the question is, why is the government not investing in local infrastructure and the development of Zambia mineral resources instead of depending on primarily on foreign investors?
Let's get all the questions, and please, panelists, take note of the questions that you're being asked.
My name is Melody Mwasa, coming from Eagles Wings Christian School. The question goes to ZESCO. What incentive will ZESCO create this year to help Zambia SME actually act power, not just pay more for it, and the real initiative to is ZESCO giving to a Zambia factory this year? Thank you.
I think enough from that side. We have some people this side. Sorry, guys.
Wonderful. So my question is actually maybe to touch the entire panel, but probably to ZDA and the institutions involved in the commerce industry. So it is one thing to plan and upload in-house, and it's another for the beneficiaries to be able to implement. So if you look at the GDP, it's grown, but when you look at the GNP, it's not above the GDP. If you look at the formula for the GNP, it is the GDP plus investments made abroad. Now what that tells us is we're not doing well outside in order to improve our economy. So now my question is, especially to ZDA as well, how have you been able to help people understand on how they can actually be able to attend to businesses outside the country so that we may be able to improve on our GNP, which in turn will boost the GDP?
Thank you. That's all the questions we can take. So ZDA, you can take it off for us.
Thank you so much. So there was a question on why we're not focusing on investing in local infrastructure and depending on foreign investment, if I got the question correct. I think you note that there's a saying that it's not government's business to do business. Yeah? So, however, we're in a situation where we're a developing country, and of course, government has, where necessary, has to come in and do certain things, but we need to depend on partnering with the private sector. And therefore, because of this, yes, we will promote investment, not that we are primarily depending on foreign investors. No, we have also local investors who are doing very fine and supplementing government efforts. But government does partner with foreign investors just to be able to ensure that we provide the country with what it needs. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question from the other gentleman on this side. So maybe I'll let the others respond, then we'll come back to it.
Sure, thank you. The question was what incentives is ZESCO providing to support SMEs? I would answer that question holistically. So first and foremost, we've received a lot of support from the government in terms of policy framework. And what I mean by that is we now have the open access framework. We've been able to have partnerships with independent power producers as well as independent power traders. What that then does for SMEs is they have a reliable power source and power supply for their business. And then secondly, we've also been able to harness, in terms of tax incentives, I think through the ZDA. The ZDA is also offering a lot of incentives for those that are in the solar space. So the whole idea behind these incentives is to support the growth sectors in our economy and foster economic development. Thank you.
Just to add on the SME aspect, yes, under a minute. As a government, we have the Capital Market Master Plan, and I hope everyone in the room is able to know that we do have a 10-year strategy under the capital markets, and one of the strategic developmental pillars is capacity building. We are talking about SMEs. They constitute over 95% of businesses in this country, so what we need is to grow them, to capacitate them, so that we can answer the question that was asked about how do we become competitive outside the country. We have to start with what type of companies do we have? How big are they? So you come to the capital markets, that is where you can get your long-term capital needed for growth. But again, you need to see, do you have governance systems in place? How are you structured, etc. So that capacitation has been catered for in the Capital Market Master Plan, and I hope everyone in the room has read that report and will be on board to see that we actualize the vision of the government of the day. Thank you.
Okay, I'd also like to say something. Okay, yes. So there was the question on what government is doing or why the government is not, I think, participating in mineral production. So I just want to say IDC is the shareholder in ZCCM. So we are the largest shareholder in ZCCM. But we have another subsidiary. It's called Industrial Resources Limited. It's a 100% owned subsidiary. And through IRL, IDC is looking or has been looking to add value to our minerals production. So if you realize, I mean, typically Zambia, our involvement has been quite passive in the mines, and then our knowledge or involvement ends at the mine gate. When the mineral goes out, it ends there. So within the last year, through IRL, we have set up a partnership where we are now participating in trading Zambia's copper. So we've started with copper. We are very involved in buying concentrate from the mines, processing it through the local smelters, of taking that metal and trading it internationally. What this does is obviously it's giving us, IDC and Zambia as a country, greater insight into where do our metals go, what are they used for, and obviously then when you understand that, you are then able to start thinking about integrating backwards. So there are moves that are happening in that space. Through IRL, we are also involved in gold aggregation, and you will see this very soon that we are launching the program very soon, where we are working with government again to, in a sense, almost try to bring sanity into the gold sector. So there is quite a lot of initiatives. There's a lot of cooking that takes place before you actually see it publicly. But
Thank
there
you.
are moves.
A big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Big hand to the panelists. Wish we could have more time. I know they have information that they would have loved to share, but we don't have enough time. And so we've come to the end of this panel discussion. I'd like to encourage all of us, kindly do visit the stands, the companies that are represented here, and ask the questions that you have not asked in this session. Thank you, panelists, and have a good day. Over to Mr. Scovella.
Thank you so much for that insightful discussion. Please, let's find time to visit the various organizations that are represented here so that we can get more information. We have just one more panel session to go. Thereafter, we'll have two very short presentations from Workers' Compensation, as well as the Africa Leather and Leather Products Institute, and that will bring to a close our business forum today. So for now, I want to invite panel 4, which is Partnerships for Growth. This will be facilitated by Mr. Silumelume Mubukwanu, Chancellor, Economic Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Economic Development, and International Cooperation. I apologize, Mr. Silumelume.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody. As time is well spent, I would request the panelists for this discussion, Ms. Chivonga and Mr. Mkengere, to please take up the seats. I think the middle seats in front here. We should have had more panelists who should have been here, but they're not here. Some have had to leave because of other engagements, but we will try and proceed with discussions the way we are. So, here we go. This panel, again, is on partnerships for growth and are going to be discussed, the issues are going to be discussed by our two panelists up here. So yes, so welcome to the panel, panelists. I will not ask you to introduce yourselves now, but I will ask you to introduce yourselves when you are answering the questions that will be put forward towards you. Thank you so much. In today's interconnected world, economic growth is increasingly driven by collaboration. No country, institution, or sector can achieve sustainable development in isolation. Strong partnerships, therefore, between government, development partners, investors, international organizations, and the private sector are essential to unlocking investment, expanding trade, strengthening industries, and transferring technology to build human capital as well. So, Ms. Chivunga, the first question is directed at you so that you can sort of set the pace for us in our discussions here today. And it goes thus. The African Continental Free Trade Area presents a market of over 1 billion people, yet many African businesses, particularly the SMEs, are not fully benefiting from it. What practical partnerships are needed between governments, the private sector, and business associations to help businesses take advantage of the opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area? Don't forget to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's late afternoon, but I'm trying to wake everybody up. We still have one last panel. So first and foremost, my name is Michelle Chivunga, and I'm here representing the AFCFTA Secretariat and the Secretary General, His Excellency Wamkele Mene. He sends his regards and wishes everybody well for today. I've seen most of the sessions that have gone extremely well. I also run my own business, a digital firm covering artificial intelligence, blockchain, and smart contract. I know most of the young people here would have probably been dealing with this and know about this. So I'm wearing both hats here to support and talk about the opportunities for African businesses, especially African entrepreneurs. The SMEs, I love the questions around SMEs because most of the continent actually is made up of SMEs. So I'll start there. You know, one of the things that we really need to focus on is actually supporting small, medium enterprises because in almost every single African countries, 60, 70, 80% of our businesses are SMEs. So if we're not supporting SMEs, we're actually missing the trick. And practical solutions, as you were mentioning, moderator, are very, very simple. I think it's not enough to just say we're going to give SMEs access to market. It has to go beyond access to market. We have to be able to actually offer support for those businesses to thrive and to grow. And one of the things that we need to think about is actually providing access to finance. Finance is one of the biggest barriers for businesses in Africa to actually scale and grow. So it's very important, and I've heard a lot of the panel here talking about investment, but let's not forget about investment into the SME space, right? And that's how you're going to grow the economy. So the AFCFTA is very much built to support African business, number one. So it's putting Africa first, right? It's putting African SMEs first. And it's also encouraging young entrepreneurs, it's encouraging women-led businesses to actually take position to be able to lead and develop new opportunities in the market. So that's number one. Secondly, it's also important, I think, under the AFCFTA that we create platforms that can provide that access in different African markets. We've heard a lot about value creation, local content creation. That is what the AFCFTA is about. Instead of us exporting our raw materials time and time again, for years we've been exporting our raw materials and haven't really benefited from it. So now the AFCFTA is there to help support, to actually create a value chain end to end,
right? From production to processing to producing real finished product that we will now export to international markets. That is what the FCFTA is built, is meant to do. And again, a third thing that I wanted to also really highlight is about information and data. We're now in a world of data. You know, the power really sits with those that hold data. And our data in Africa, most of it at the moment is still kind of sitting in outside platforms, right? It's important that we also create access to data, our own data, and I call it data capital. So we must build data capital. Young people who are creating solutions in Africa, creating some of the most leading solutions in Africa, must have access to data and information. They must have practical support, mentoring, you know, access to information, access to market is quite easy because most of our young people, by the way, they're on their platforms, Instagram, Facebook, I don't know what the latest is, you guys know. But don't use that just to take pictures and put pictures, use it to do business. Use it to understand what's happening in certain markets, right, and build that up. And I'll stop before I finish. I think another really important point is around governments, especially governments and private sector need to work together. Often you find private sector is busy getting along, you know, doing their thing, and government is also producing policy, but the policy and the implementation and the practice is not matching. And that has to change. It's very important, and we have seminars like this that's actually going to help with that. And the more we have partnerships with governments, with investors, with private sector, and the young entrepreneurs have to have a voice. So I'd love to see on some of these panels, young people coming to tell us what they want to actually, you know, to hear, right, and to see what they want to do. So for me, it's about bringing all the parties together, making sure those parties also can play a part. It's no longer a world of where we must go and operate on our own in silos. That's not going to deliver us the economies of scale that we want. So partnerships, access to markets, access to information and data, and also connecting our young people and also our women entrepreneurs is very important. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you very much, Ms. Michelle. I think one of the major things that was coming out of your presentation now is the element of having our products accessing the export market as much as possible. So, and in that regard, my next question, which goes to Mr. Mukengere, of course, in line with ensuring that our exports do meet the standards, you come from an organization that deals with standards, and I will ask you as follows. Standards and quality assurance are increasingly important in facilitating trade, attracting investment, and enhancing competitiveness. How can partnerships between standards institutions, government, and the private sector support Zambia's integration into regional global markets? Please don't forget to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. So allow me first of all to introduce myself and my company. I'm Mr. Michel Mukengere Enama. I'm a corporate executive of the state insurance company of DRC, which is SONAS. So most of people here can ask themselves why a foreign company in insurance is a part of this panel. The question is very simple, and the answer is going to be also very simple. We are neighbors. I'm going to talk on behalf of DRC and on behalf of Zambia because we have the same challenges. So we are here in Zambia today, not only because we are neighbors and we are doing business together, but we are here because you are also one of our best neighbors we have never had. We've never fight with you from 2,000 years, and just for that, I ask you, clap for yourselves, please. Thank you for this piece one. So how institution, government, and other organization can increase the business? First of all, we are going to talk about the regulators. As you know, as a state insurance company, we was the regulator in the sector of insurance before the opening
the market. It is the same case with Zambia State Insurance also. So, but from the time the market has been opened, now we have regulators. In Congo, it is ARCA, which is Autorité de Régulation et de Contrôle des Assurances. Here in Zambia, it's PIA, which is a Pension and Insurance Authority, right? So these ones, they can help the business to go to growth, to grow help the companies to get more solvency so that they can bring more confidence that will help them to create new treaties of reinsurance with other countries which are bigger and bigger companies. They can also help the business growing, because when people are investing, they are putting their money in a business, they need to have the security, the safety of the money. And that safety and the security is going to be brought by the insurance companies. So that's what I can say on my side for this part. Thank you.
And thank you very much. Just a follow-up, Ms. Chibunga. Could you please, in a few minutes, speak to the products or the opportunities, for instance, that Zambia and other countries, of course, like DRC in the CFTA, can actually look at to increase exports to the export market?
Yes, absolutely. A fantastic question. And, again, Sonas, congratulations, because I think you're an example of what we want to try and see moving forward, where we have these intra-Africa relationships and trade happening between African countries. That's number one. So take DRC and Zambia, like you say, we've been neighbors but how much business do we do with each other? Is the question. Can we increase that business that we're doing with each other? I mean, DRC and Zambia are number 2 when it comes to copper, right? the copper nations really on the continent, and the world at the moment is actually seeking copper. But we must start to trade with each other first. Intra-Africa trade, I think, still sits around 16-17%. Whereas we have higher numbers with the international markets. I think that needs to shift, and that's why with the FCFTA, we're trying to encourage, more African countries to trade with one another. So I think in terms of products, there are many products that we can look at, I think, between DRC and Zambia, and not necessarily just copper. You can look at agri, processing, manufacturing, warehousing, right, to support. And then both countries are now Lobito countries. I'm sure most people have heard of the Lobito corridor. Now we need to make that project a reality. It can't be a project on paper, right? It's very important that we implement that Lobito corridor. And I can tell you from international investors' perspective, that's the one project that they're eyeing and thinking we want to get in because of the 3 countries involved, Angola, DRC, Zambia, because of what those countries offer, right? The minerals that we've talked about the whole day today, that's an attraction for the investors. The copper that I talked about is an attraction, the agriculture, the manufacturing, the tourism as well, all very, very attractive. Why are we not doing tourism between each other? Why are we not encouraging? They say, let's visit DRC, not London or New York. Come to DRC, come to Angola, come to Zambia. Very, very important. I think that's what the FCFTA is really trying to help and support and make that easier by bringing in very, very easy, legal frameworks in place. So we've developed legal frameworks to help countries to be able to operate with each other much easier. Whether it's investment protocol, whether it's digital trade protocol, we have a number of these protocols to help facilitate trade between our countries. And when we grow the trade between our countries, we become stronger, right, as an African continent. And when we become stronger as an African continent, we're also competitive in the world. So we have a stronger voice, right, together, and we can compete and negotiate deals with other international markets collectively. So I'd love to see DRC and Zambia come together and say, hey, we're going to negotiate a copper deal with America or whoever, a minerals deal. I want to see Botswana and Zambia say we're going to negotiate a deal on diamonds together. I want to see Zambia and Zim come together and say we're doing ABCD. I want to see Angola and Zambia, Nigeria and Zambia. We send you our Zambia because we are lacking Zambia. It's the best. in the world. So let's do these deals. I think it's very important. And the more we create the opportunities to do that, and that's what the AFCFTA is doing. So I encourage all businesses here to really look into the African Continental Free Trade Area to help you to get more access into these markets, African markets. And once you get access to those African markets, you can also grow internationally more competitively together.
Thank you so much for that response. Mr. Mkengere, what steps should businesses take to ensure that their products and services meet international standards?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for this question, which is very important because competitiveness is something about quality. So if our countries, Zambia, DRC, and other of the region, we try to improve, to increase the quality of our product, I mean the quality, the way we are advertising about the product, and the prices that we are offering, our product can be competitive. I'm very, very happy when I'm here in Zambia, and I can see in the shops, most of the products now, currently, they are proudly Zambia. And congratulations for that. That is how the market can grow. Since we are neighbors and we are doing business together, we must focus on something. The copper is not something which will be here for eternity. There will be one day that there won't be any copper anymore. At that time, what are we going to do? Therefore, we must increase our other products, other options, so that we can give a good gift to our future, to our kids. So before I close my purpose, we want to invite people, to invite all the world. We were supposed to be with other panelists, Union European, China also, and Japan, and others. So our presence here, it's also to invite people, invite investors, come to DRC. DRC is not anymore only the country of the copper of strategic mineral. We are now also the critical mineral country. The future of this world is in our region, because that we can find in Congo, we can maybe find it also here in Zambia. So kindly come and visit Congo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your submissions for this particular phase of the presentation. Now I will invite questions from the public, and this time it's two questions, one from both sides of the aisle. So I see a hand there from the lady. Is a microphone close to her there? Or should we pass on this one? And on the other side, is there any question? I see the gentleman there. So after that question there, you will answer or rather you give your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? I'm Walakimani from Mark Energy Electrical. Oh, okay. Sorry for that. I'm Walakimani from Mark Energy Electrical, and my question is for the gentleman from DRC. Yeah, so you're encouraging, I think it's the You're encouraging inter-business and relations between Zambia and Congo. So as our company is specialized in solar solutions, and the majority of our clientele is actually Congolese-based. But then usually they have complaints about how high the fees are at the customs offices. So what policies are you putting in place so that you make it more friendly for them, since you're encouraging that? Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Benson Msantu from Dollar Business Association. Although the local associations are not fully recognized here, we are affiliated to Zak Simba. Mine is a contribution which I want the panel, the coordinators or the facilitators of these such huge seminars for business to create a slot for submissions. Most of us come with ideas, but platform is not given to us. By this, I'm saying let there be a submission, maybe a suggestion box. For example, for Ndola Business Association, we are saying a lot has been said, a lot has been attended, but we have not done much. I was researching on how we can help SMEs. The other time I talked to Minister Mvanga, former, for SMEs, I said, I've researched and I've found out that USA, 80% of SMEs are depending on equipment lease, equipment leasing, which is a very good tool to grow the SMEs. We have to introduce an act of parliament. Nigeria is doing it, and other countries. 80% of US SMEs are just using equipment leasing. Today, if you give me an equipment, tomorrow I'll produce.